Assalamu alaikum, fam. Hope you're doing well. So, one person from India who sides with the Hindu nationalists said that wearing a niqab is flaunting that you're different. And that you shouldn't walk around like, oh, look, I'm a Muslim, I'm different than you. Now, there's many ways to approach this topic. First off, I'd like to say that covering your body is not showing off. Rather, showing your body, your flesh is, because that's actually what catches the eye. Men will have a shorter attention span to loose garments than when a woman is in a tight-fitting clothes because of the sexual stimulation. Okay? Women will stare longer at a woman who is with the tight-fitting clothing, judging her, or if they're bisexual or lesbian, lusting for her, than someone who's in a niqab or a burqa and they're just like, oh, they focus on something that attracts energy, and sexual energy is what attracts eyeballs. The niqab is not a sexual item, so it deters one from being stared at too much. But if a woman, hence that's why prostitutes dress so sexy, is because they're hoping the man will stare long enough to wipe her down so she can perform horrific acts that spread diseases and lead to abortion and break up marriages. So she dresses that way because that's what the customer wants to see, because, well, that's what he's there for. He wants to see the dairy cow. He wants to see what he's purchasing. But niqabi women, hijabis, and burqa women, we're not for sale. We are not marketing ourselves the same as the women who are secular, liberal, feminist, atheists and want to show it all and then, have random hookups and get passed around. Most Muslim women are trying their best to obey Allah's command, to resist temptation, to lower their gaze, and to be content within themselves concerning modesty, virtue, righteousness, and piousness. Some may fail, but most are truly trying, and the religious garment aids them in that affair. So, is the one who covers flaunting, or the one who is squeezing into tight clothes so that, men are distracted by her in class? The reason why women wear tight clothes is to attract. That is what it is, to get looks. That is what the fashion industry is. That's what marketing knows. It's what psychologists know. It shouldn't be something contested. The thing is this. It is wrong to not allow women to cover. Hair is a very beautiful thing. I myself have very long, past my belly button, curly hair. Thick, curly hair. Before I became a Muslim, I would have my hair down, and a lot of people, they were very kind, but they still would stare a lot, want to touch my hair. They can't resist it. And the way the hair flows in the wind, it catches the eyes of men. I always, since I was little, got compliments on my very long hair. And most of the women in my family all have long hair. We've got a gene just for healthy, thick, long hair. And every, how do I put it? Every time I'm around people, they always mention my hair. And it was a big part of my personality and sex appeal. But when I rectified my affairs and wanted to be less hedonistic, less sexual, covering the hair cut off so many inappropriate conversations, both from lesbians and bisexuals and men. Now they see the religious garment and they stay away from me. But before, I could be in the grocery store and someone would stare too long and look me up and down, and they couldn't help but look. Now, some women want that attention. They need it. They crave it. They want everyone to see every hole, every imperfection, every hair on their body. They just can't resist people not looking at them. But when our iman is created strong, when Allah has given us His mercy and made us see the better path, we choose to cover, and we see the wonderful, wonderful gift of giving it just for the person we care about. It's wonderful. We don't want to be like the secular liberal feminists who desire to show it, and the fake conservative women who they claim to believe, in their religion, yet they don't dress like Mother Mary in any of the classic Catholic iconography. They don't dress in the modest fashion anymore because of country music, Disney, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, and other clever disrobing campaigns, right? The Christians were very, very good, especially the Amish and the Mennonites and the Mormons, about modesty. But with the sexual liberation perversion movement that has inverted the minds of women towards the fashion industry, makeup industry, and the plastic surgery industry, this has caused much problems. So I would argue that the niqab, the hijab, and the burqa is not to flaunt and say I'm different than you, even though it does differentiate those who are seeking to live a steadfast, less hedonistic, less perverted, less addictive, less vapid lifestyle, and that we're not slaves to the fashion industry that uses slave labor, but rather we seek to focus on our faith, not let our flesh rule us, and to not let our bodies override our mind and divert us from focusing on rectifying our heart, strengthening our faith, and by wearing the religious garment, we are reminded every second to be good, to try our best, to not be bad, and to remember what we are wearing, and that with it comes great responsibility. Just as a king puts on his crown and knows that he must live up to the crown, that he must bear the burden on his head, everything that comes enfolded within that crown, he must live up to it. Regardless of the shape, regardless of the colors, he has been granted authority through the symbolic object that has been placed upon his head. The niqab for me and many others is more than a crown. To me, it is something that directly shows that I reject the occultists. I reject the very, very regressive, hedonistic agenda of the so-called progressives. I don't feel that I need to spend all the money on plastic surgeons and to live by my flesh. We see the niqab as something grand, something that makes us be better, to try to be better. For a woman, this is a noble affair. For a woman, this is something that is not easy to do, because we know we have the world against us. We know we have commercials that love breeding insecurities. We know we have people who will sell us things to fix our insecurities, to fix them. Don't like your eyelashes? Put on these weird long ones that are with glue that hurt your skin and can cause eye infections. Here, don't like your eye color? Wear this. Don't like your lip color? Wear this. Don't like this? Change your hair color. Change. That's all it is. But for us, we say cover. I don't need to pay attention to any of these men, these bisexuals or these lesbians. I'm just gonna go about my day, do what I have to do, remember that I'm in this clothing, that I must live up to it. I must raise my consciousness to such a level that I must not act a fool while being in it nor when I'm at home by myself. And that wearing the niqab is an act of haya towards Allah Azza wa Jal. This is beautiful to me because having the sense of shyness in front of Allah, even though I know Allah can see through these clothing, I still feel shyness. And that for me is a wonderful gift that Islam has given me, that I'm not going to let a degenerate, drug-addicted, porn-addicted, secular, liberal, feminist, atheist take away from me. I broke free from the same industry that destroyed my mother and crushed my family, and I'm not going to let the same thing happen to my descendants, inshallah. And I'm going to help try to pull more women out of that. And the niqab is a wonderful path towards that affair. Every time I wear it, when the wind blows in it, it feels so peaceful, spiritual. And we don't seek your attention. Rather, we seek to rectify our souls, to have shyness in front of Allah, and to lead by example, and to reject that filth and vile of what the gutters of Babylon produce. It's not wrong to not show your breasts. It's not wrong to want to cover your beautiful hair. It's not wrong to not have to always want to smile at everyone you see and, allow them to scan you so that they can think about you in the shower or some other perversion. Indeed, we have a gift of shyness and of modesty. And as an American, I can say that one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life is learning to love the niqab. And it was a real journey that happened, a real change of heart, a change of perspective. And for any filthy feminist who sleeps with random dudes after bars, who allows her husband to purchase, women on OnlyFans, a woman who has had 4 abortions, who sterilizes her womb, hates children, for a woman of that caliber to try to dictate to me what I must wear, this is not justice. This is not justice. If you're allowed to show your butt crack, I am allowed to cover. And the one who shows their butt crack to little children, to dogs, to the sun, to the trees, to everything in between is not the same as someone who says, you know what? I'm going to respect my partner, preserve my beauty, and I'm going to give it to just the one in whom it should be given. That's not wrong. And clearly in our religion, the one who covers is better than the one who prances about sexually stimulating everything within their environment. And the one who doesn't show their breasts to little boys is better than the one who does. Separate from those who are breastfeeding and teaching the young boys about, what a mother does to sustain a child. Quite different. Don't take our niqabs, please. Let us wear it. If you want to listen to the horror stories of some women, that's your prerogative. But do not stop those of us in free countries from choosing to cover. Because if you're allowed to wear Adidas, Nike, companies that use slave labor, you're promoting companies that use slave labor. You're allowed to wear that. But I can't wear a garment that promotes piousness, that promotes chastity, that promotes marriage, that promotes modesty. So my religious garment is considered bad in your eyes, but wearing Nike or Adidas, a Jack Daniels shirt, whatever other companies, that's okay, even though those companies have horrific labor rights abuses. That doesn't make sense to me. So if you can promote companies that commit labor atrocities across the world, why can't I promote something that helps women to escape the cycle of the porn industry, human trafficking, hedonism, and mental illness and low self-esteem. So please understand that there are people who have their opinions and their horror stories, but there are those of us who have love stories. So please, before you ask for legislation to ban any garment, consider what I have said here and what other sisters might say.